Yeah. We're back again. It is Unapologetic with Eric King on WOVU 95.9 FM. And I have my friend in the studio today. But before we jump on that, I got to give her the proper introduction today because today is really, really special. This is someone, so I'm going to go ahead and give you the full-fledged, introduction. All right, you ready? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show. I am thrilled to introduce a guest whose work is transforming lives and communities in Northeast Ohio. She's not just only my friend, she's a mental health professional. She's a true advocate for breaking generational curses and cycles of trauma, from a childhood marked with toxic stress to building a life dedicated to hope, healing, and empowerment. She has founded an incredible organization, To Attain Healing, where she's revolutionizing trauma-informed care with a compassionate approach that touches the hearts of families and individuals alike. Please join me in welcoming T Money.
Who is
Tyra
that person?
here. That's you.
What?
What's up?
Hello.
How you feel?
That
Was that good? Did I do it right?
Man, that was amazing.
I couldn't let you come to the house and not actually have like a proper.
Now anybody who addresses me now, relationships, I can listen.
All that.
Go back to
all
95.9.
Get you all that. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How you been though?
I've been, can I say blessed? I've been
blessed.
Yeah,
you can say blessed.
I'm blessed. I'm grateful.
They ain't gonna kick me out yet.
Okay.
You can say that stuff.
I gotta ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been all of those things.
You've been doing your thing. So before we jump into the nuts and bolts of stuff, I always like to introduce people and just, it's not about how you and I know each other, but it's more about what you are offering to the world. I had to turn you up. So.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Because I'm still a novice around here. So before we jump into your organization, let's go back. You have been an individual that have been in Cleveland for a while. Mm-hmm. And little known Black History fact, your son performed at the Super Bowl, was one of the dancers with Rihanna. In what was that, red? What was that? Was he white?
He had on white. She had on red.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So your son, and when I first met you roughly about 9-10 years ago, maybe about 11, your son had just started going towards dance, right? And obviously he's Black and he's a male. Yes. When he first started this and you had to cart him around to places other than sports, what was that like for you?
Well, I realized that sports wasn't his thing. He's always been a creative kid and active. So he always wanted to do anything and everything, and I would put him in it.
Yeah.
So when sports came and presented itself, I would put him in every sport, football, basketball. I think he played baseball too. Okay. But he would come home drained.
That wasn't his thing.
It wasn't his thing.
His energy was gone.
His energy was depleted.
Yeah.
But he also has been dancing since he was like maybe 7. He was a Cavs Kids dancer, things like that. Mm-hmm. So as he got older, I really started paying attention to that. And like, he can dance all day. Mm-hmm. He can get stuff done and dance. Yeah. Like, it was really his home. So I was like, oh, okay, we're going to nurture this a little bit more.
Right. And you were able to find at a very early age is that a Black owned? I can't think of the name of it. Is it Elevated?
Elevated is Black owned.
Black owned, Elevated Dance Company.
Yeah, but he was at the most prestigious white dance studio first.
Why you said what?
But
no, I got you.
Colorless.
Yes.
I don't know. It was only a half sprinkle of us.
Yeah.
You know.
No, right.
So but they were known to be doing their thing in Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So I went with them because they were all over the city. So and it just kind of, he took off.
Just flowered.
Yeah.
He started at 7. And what age did you say, all right, we're going to do, I see that you're for real now. What age was that?
I don't think he's never been for real about it.
When you figured out, not him.
Oh.
He always
knew. That's a good question.
Right? It doesn't got nothing to do with you. I'm talking about you.
I want to say I figured out that when, I guess I had to understand that this was his, like, this is it. He doesn't want to do anything else. All his friends, like, we're dancers, like, this is it.
Yeah.
So you got to, as a parent, you have to complete that package for your children.
you growing up, you had to deal with certain aspects of life. And so, as we know,
Oh,
don't forget you on camera.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
In certain aspects of life. And as you know, we get superpowers when we deal with toxicity in your life. So when you saw that your son, and you also have a younger son, when you see that your boys, are having certain desires and drive, when you were growing up, was that something that was fostered in you to move towards your shape? What was it like growing up?
No, I wasn't fostered.
Okay.
And I had to navigate myself on my own. That was hard for me. But I think that's what made me go into the field that I'm in, the therapy, the counseling. I had to heal myself, things like that. So I poured that back into my own environment because as a kid that lacked it, it's only fair to pour what you don't have into or didn't have.
Yeah, I was going to say that part. It's the idea of, so you had to be able to pour into your kids.
Yeah.
And when you look at what he's done, so we're talking about the oldest, right? So right now he's in California. So he's in California, and he's been on this journey. He's 24.
He'll be
so
24
he's been on Saturday. Right, that's right. He's a Scorpio. Watch out. Woo, woo. Right. So the idea, you've been on this journey, you said 7 years old, right? So that's 17 years you've been doing this. And you've been doing this as a single mom for the most part. What is that like for you?
I just feel like I was called to do so. Like, I feel like my kids were given to me.
Right.
And the craziest thing is I've always wanted boys. I wanted to nurture boys into men that were not emotionalists and can tap into the emotional side of things. So that's how I kind of looked at it. Like, they were given to me for a reason. It's my job to nurture them. And during the process, I also nurtured and was healing myself. Okay. So it was kind of like a great package, I guess.
Yeah. During that moment of healing for yourself, when did you recognize you had the power of healing? What age were you?
I was young because I was rebellious.
Okay.
I didn't understand that I was a healer then.
Yeah.
But it was in me, right? And now when I go back and look at how I was as a kid or a teenager, it definitely fits my path. I was the person who spoke life into people, although I was going through hell.
You can say hell.
Hell. In my own world, right? And I can understand things deeper than most people at an early age. So, but not knowing that's a
thing.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
It caused a lot of rebellious, and I always navigated on my own. Like, I don't care. Oh, okay.
Was that solo on purpose? Was that the idea growing up because you felt disconnected from what was popular or what was going on?
I definitely felt disconnected, but not from people.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can draw people to me with no problem. Like, we moved a lot as kids. Every time we moved, I had I had friends with no problem.
Yeah.
But I think the emotional piece was missing. Like, I was definitely emotionally disconnected.
Yeah. So
like numb.
Right. You decided to. So let's unpackage that. So if we look at this cycle, right? So what I asked you about were your kids, and this idea of, did you get the same thing are they getting the same thing that you got? So if we go ahead and unpackage this, when you're looking at this breaking the cycle, for you, what did that involve overall, that you had to literally deal with rather than, put it off on other people or on other things, I should say?
Unpacking my suitcase.
Okay. What is that like?
It really means going in and figuring out what this feels like. What is this, right? Okay, people see you as weird.
Right.
I mean, people call me weird all the time. I just accept it.
You.
But why? And what does that really look like to myself? And am I okay with that? And I am, right? Because I know, for me, I always say I was chosen to be that ancestor. To change the the patterns.
Right.
And I was given those tools at an early age. So pulling back those layers is like, okay, I came from a single family household, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how did that make me feel? What happened to me in that single family household?
Right.
How does it affect my life?
Right.
Right? Because relationships, whether it's friendships, partnerships, all of that trauma affects all of that.
It all matters.
It all matters.
It all matters. It all.
So that's what you have to. For me, that's what I had to really. I had to unlearn things that we think are normal in our households.
That dysfunction.
The dysfunction.
Because we find comfort in dysfunction.
We do.
So
and coping.
Right. Man, ain't it fun though? Yeah.
I love it.
So the past is our greatest teacher.
Yes, it is.
It's one of our greatest teacher. In looking in your today, your 24 hours today, what is the greatest lesson that you learned from? Because and you can't cheat and say it's what you do now. You can't cheat. But what's your greatest lesson from, the past that you have brought to this 24 today?
That my past needed to be for my present.
Okay.
That's the greatest lesson. I think I look at trauma in a different space.
Right.
Now, right? Before it hurt me, or I had all of these wounds and all of this hurt and pain.
Right.
But now I really truly understand that it's not my education. My degrees are just
right. The paper.
It's really what I encountered to be able to heal myself. It's the healing part.
The name of your organization is To Attain Healing. And we'll talk about that after our first break. But when we're looking at healing, it's such it's such a clickbait word. And what I mean by that is everybody wants to heal, but nobody either knows what it looked like or want to do the work. When you're communicating this concept of healing with other people, and for a fact, hands down, they have no clue what it looks like, because what they want to do is find their healing in someone else. So that's one. And secondly, because they see it in someone else, they want to get it the same way that the other people got it, and they give up. What's your thoughts on that one?
First of all, healing hurts.
Yes.
Healing hurts.
Yes.
And if people have already endured so much pain through trauma,
yeah.
Right now you're telling me I got to heal and that hurts too. I'm not reflecting on that. I'm not pulling back those layers. I'm gonna stay right here.
Yeah.
And sit.
Yeah.
And it's not. And everybody's healing is different. Our paths are different. Our journeys are different. Our purpose is different. So, I say healing because healing is forever.
Yeah. The other part is so I use a scenario when I work with clients. They'll ask me, why are we talking about our past? Why are we doing that? Right? And because what I stress is I'm not the type of counselor we're going to do psycho, whatever. We're going to look backwards for perspective, and we're going to look today on that learning. And so what I help them with is I said, all right, so if you broke your toe, right, you running and that pinky toe, you bump that pinky toe, right? And so we bump that pinky toe, and you never go get it actually looked at. The pinky toe heals improperly, right? Because time moves on, right? It's considered as healed. And then the pain goes to your ankle because you compensated. From the ankle it goes to your knee. From your knee it goes to your hips, so on and so forth, to where you're going to the doctor and you're asking the doctor 15 years later, I get these chronic headaches, and how long have you had it? And the doctor find out, oh, you never healed your toe right. Did you ever get your toe fixed? That's a lot of times when I hear people is that we got to go back and re-break this toe, set it properly, and allow it to heal.
Set it in alignment.
Set it in alignment, right?
Right?
Is that something that you encounter?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But that's healing.
Yeah. Because no one wants to do that part.
No, that's what I'm saying. No one wants to go back and break their selves down, back down.
Yeah.
To be built back up the right way.
The right way.
The right way.
The right way is the key. So we going to jump out on a break. And then on the other side, we're going to get into two things. We're going to start talking about what you do. Okay. And then we're going to start talking about how it impacts. And then don't forget, we can't get up out of here without telling some people how they can reach you, and also how, what nuggets you got for them. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back on the other side. We're going to jump. All right. We back We got T Money Tar Heel doing her thing. So we're going to talk about what you do. Did you have anything extra? I mean,
to add?
No, because people...
I got a lot to talk about. No, just playing. It's going to take more than an hour.
People be like, "Oh, I just wanted to, because we gotta do the breaks."
No.
Steph never. Shout out to Steph. She never wants to do the breaks.
Oh,
Steph Kells.
Steph is my girl.
Yeah,
Shout out to Steph.
She never wants to do the breaks.
The GOAT.
She's such a problem.
She's a GOAT.
I'll talk. She'll be in here soon. So
okay.
She's such a problem. All right. So you created this organization focused on trauma-informed care, which is something that you struggle with, over your life, trauma. Trauma, once again, so we got so many buzzwords in mental health. For a while we had trauma or triggers, then we had borderline, then we have so many.
Now it's narcissistic.
Right. So we've had so many. When you decided, or when you're attempting to either educate fellow peers, right, that are coming up in the business, because you do that also, as well as the general public, when you say my organization To Attain Healing deals with trauma-informed care, how do you break it down for them?
Meaning you have to understand trauma. Okay. Like we use the word so loosely.
Yeah.
But what does it really mean to unpack trauma? What are the steps to it? Well, how does it impact you? Because it's going to impact you differently.
Right.
So just being informed of what trauma actually is for a person individually, for me. I hear a lot of misconceptions about trauma. It's something as simple as, telling a child no. But for you, when you are working with either, like I said, peers and organizations, because you do organizational talks, you do symposiums, you do online stuff, you do a lot of stuff, and your thing is trauma, right? What are some misconceptions you're running into in the idea of trauma, as well as how an individual can heal from trauma in, things that you're doing with your business? For me personally, I think that we have always looked at trauma as the negative piece, right? For me, it's getting people to understand that there's also strength in trauma, and that's different than resiliency.
Yeah. Because they tend to link them together for some reason.
Yeah, and it's different.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my trauma.
Okay.
Right? And it doesn't take away from the things that it causes us, right? The pain and the feelings that it causes. Yeah. We still have to dig deep into those things. Right. But when you dig deep and you really understand, oh, okay, so and then generational, right? Intergenerational trauma.
Gotcha.
So we're always in a cycle. And where are you to break that cycle?
What's the interesting part is, along with everything else, you took care of your father for a while. 8 years. 8 years. And he, passed away. And I remember the amount of stress that you went through. You were raising 2 boys, taking care of your father. You were
in school,
working full time. So you were doing all of these things at the same time. When we look at this concept of trauma, and we look at this concept of generational, how much of this do you think you pass down to your kids, not knowing that the way that mommy is doing it may not be the way that you need to do things?
I didn't look at that as trauma, though. I looked at it as a place that I was supposed to be in.
Gotcha.
And that's what separates me now, right?
Yeah.
I can have all of these things on my plate and I can be doing a lot, but what is the purpose of it, right? Okay. My father came back to me to heal my my daddy-daughter trauma.
Right.
And he came back in a place that I had to heal myself still.
That's the part, because your history or your family history is not golden enough to where you are, would be an individual to where someone who is a part of your, a negative part of your history, you would have to take care of.
Yeah, but and that's what I got from a lot of people. How do you do it? How can you? I had to understand the resentment that came up and peel that back and process it.
Right.
I had to process the abandonment. Those things you have to process through. That's what I'm saying. Like the strength in trauma doesn't take away from the processing. It just you have to understand why it's there.
When attempting to get someone to understand the idea of purposeful trauma, because that's the first thing popped into your head, because there's certain things that are traumatic but are also purposeful. When you're looking at that, because they shape your character, shape your thoughts, right? There's so many things that I've spoken about that were traumatic that shapes who I am right now. When you're communicating with people that you care about, and what I mean by that is anyone that you come in contact with, you care about. When you're communicating with people you care about, how are you, attempting to discuss with them the need for purposeful trauma and how to use it in today?
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody, you can't, it's like you have to know.
Yeah.
That's not an easy conversation to talk about purposeful trauma.
Yeah.
Because people can't get past what happened yesterday.
Right. Because they hold on to it.
They hold on to these grudges and these feelings. And you have to get through that first.
Yeah.
You have to get through the deep rooted issues first before you can even talk about purposeful trauma.
The deep-rooted issues. So if we go back to your organization, right? So you specifically named this To Attain Healing, which is a active, right? It's an active phrase, but it's also an intentional thing, meaning it's a skill that you have to learn. When you were going through that process of choosing a name and also choosing a mission with that name, what was that like for you?
That was the first client.
What do you mean?
Meaning, I found To Attain Healing in myself.
Okay.
And that's why it's active, right? I had to understand that healing and therapy are two different things.
Yes.
Right? And for me, I was going through cycles of patterns of things that,
over and over.
But guess what?
Yeah.
That I was causing for myself.
Yeah.
And
Well,
or blaming.
Wait, hold on. Let's go back to that. Far too often, we as human beings, we look outward before we look inward.
And that's the problem.
So if you, in that honest moment, that transparent moment is, I was the one causing by my choices. What is that like? Even saying it out loud now.
It means you don't have to be there. You don't have to stay. You don't have to do this. We have choices.
Okay.
And when you're healing or when you are aware, those choices look different than when you're not aware, right?
That conscious level.
Absolutely.
That conscious level. So your organization deals with, right now you have how many people work with you?
30.
30. And these are mental health providers. And do you have caseworkers and what's the levels of working you have? Or people
Case managers,
therapists. Okay. When you're working within this framework and you get clients in, is there a specific way that you go about or a way that you go about working with clients? Do you have a specific, we call it curriculum sometimes, or plan?
I like to put my staff with their strengths.
Okay.
If clients come in and they're particularly dealing with grief, I want you to be able to touch that grief.
Gotcha.
Right? I kind of navigate in that space.
Okay.
Like, we're not doing anybody any service if this person cannot match with this person, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
go ahead. No.
Well, that's just, we have strengths, and we have to,
Yeah.
for me, as a director or the person over this, the strength has to be nurtured in both ways.
Because you're the head of everything, right? And it's on your shoulders. With that said, now we have managed care. We have venture capitalists coming in, using their money because behavioral health, post-pandemic and a little bit pre-pandemic, became very profitable. And so what we're finding is that individuals are coming in bringing money that has absolutely nothing to do, or they have no history of working with behavioral health, but they own a behavioral organization and they're offering behavioral health. What do you have to say about that?
My honest opinion?
Why not? You know, ain't but
It's
two people.
terrible.
Ain't but two people listening. It's just me.
No, it's terrible. I
Yeah.
think that it does the community a disservice.
Because
Like, I've been in this field for over 20 years.
yeah,
In
me
different
too.
positions.
Yeah,
And my path led me here.
Yeah,
And I take this very serious, and I'm very passionate about this because you get that a lot, even in organizations I've worked in.
that look
right?
like. So let's be real. So for the audience, just so that you know, we have nonprofit, for-profit, and in the for-profit entity, there are venture capitalist companies that are coming in buying up behavioral health companies. And they may keep the same name. So I'm not going to say any of them, but they keep the same name. But if you
Okay.
don't do that, you go upwards. The people that are owners of those things
Have
no idea. And so that's where we're seeing more burnout. So with the 30 people that you work with, what is your go-to message in this with this concept of burnout at your organization To Attain Healing?
Well, I tap into my staff too, like, because let's just be honest, they have issues just like our clients do.
Right.
So if I'm at the higher head and I acknowledge that and am able to secure that in my own agency, that gives me a better security of mental health
Yeah.
and less burnout, right? Like,
Yeah.
I understand that you're going through this. Like, productivity is it's a thing, but it's not a thing.
That's
right?
the dirty word in mental and behavioral health.
It's a huge dirty word.
Yeah.
So my thing is, it's going to flow. It's going to come. It's going to, whatever is meant to be is going to happen,
Right.
regardless.
Right.
So if you secure your staff and let them understand that you are just as human,
Right.
because we're not robots,
Right.
And I don't want my staff to operate that way. So just being okay with for them to have a safe space,
Yeah.
and for them to be
Yeah.
Okay.
What's different with a privately owned organization and when I think about it, so let's go back to Living Single, right? So Living Single, there's an episode where, Khadijah has someone that wants to come in and buy the paper, right? It's the guy that played on the Cosby Show, right? Comes in and she's like, no, you just can't come in here and buy because you don't understand. And so if you go back to that episode, it's similar to what we're talking about right now. People come in, they bring the money because money moves and money makes noise, but they don't actually understand what we're doing. So when you're working with your staff, you're the head. How do you allow yourself to weed out individuals that are there to heal themselves rather than work with the wait a minute, let me ask the question. Rather than work with the client.
okay.
Go ahead.
I don't weed them out. They weed themselves out.
Yeah.
Like
I find that too.
You gotta, when they come, I typically, I do get empaths, right? And I want them.
Yeah.
I want the empaths because that means you have compassion to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing you to do this because of money.
Right.
You're not doing this because you have to pay your bills.
Right.
You genuinely have a connection to people and emotions, right? You want to help
That's
in that
the purpose.
way. And that's the purpose.
That's the purpose. Right.
So I don't seek them. Like, if you come to me, your energy and so I typically work with people who come to me in that matter.
Yeah.
The compassion, because when
Yeah.
you have compassion,
Yeah.
the work is there. The work is, you're going to do the work.
That's the part, and because they do weed themselves out. What I've noticed, I mean, the listeners know, or the one or two listeners that I have, they know that I have my own organization that has gone up and down because I have attempted to keep people that didn't need to be kept based off of my deal with abandonment. And what I learned is if I just allow myself to be me, they'll leave no matter what.
That's it.
They'll leave. So let's flip over to the community. All right. You're in Northeast Ohio, right? Born and bred?
Born, raised in some parts of California, but majority here, yes. Born and bred,
Right,
yes.
born and bred. So Northeast Ohio has a lot of trauma, right? We got economic trauma. We have food deserts. We have, and then the rest of the stuff, right? What's funny is we don't have hurricanes. We don't have, some of those things that the Eastern, right? But we definitely have some depression. When working with the community and with your organization, What is the big and small breakthroughs that you've noticed with Northeast Ohio and attempting to get through some of the things that we're going through when it relates to trauma and working with the people you work with?
Them knowing that you are them, right?
Yeah.
That typically for me works, where you can identify.
Yeah.
As a mental health professional, as a mental health agency, you're not just coming in and taking.
Take.
Yeah, right?
Take.
A lot of my relationships are engagement. Like really, like I'm really huge on engagement. And for me, it's huge for me to be not behind a desk.
Get out there for
I'm out there doing the work.
Yeah.
I'm doing groundwork, and I'm in the community, and I was in the community before I formed. So I think that the connection has to come from who are you, right? To reach the community and break through that trauma. Because if they can identify with who you are, like, oh, that ain't just the caseworker, that's not just the therapist, but I have a connection with the actual person of this agency.
Right.
So, you know, we deal with families who have a lot of abandonment issues. And
what about this idea? So you're a private organization, right? And so we have other community health organizations that more of as a conglomerate, right? And in our community, we go out and we connect. You can tell the individuals that have been a part of the conglomerate system. They've been in the system for a while, and there's no true healing, and they view you as a service-oriented person to serve them. When you're working with when you see that in the community, how do you attempt to help those that you are in charge of and also supporting, right? So in charge of, meaning as in your employees, and that you're in supporting, to set up healthy boundaries within our community so burnout doesn't happen?
Every individual is different, and I don't think that it's not a system thing.
Okay.
I think that's it's not a system thing. It's an individuality thing, and we have to know. I don't want to say we have to know who we're dealing with, because that's not always the case.
Right.
But for me, I have to know who I am in my space.
Gotcha.
And I can't allow nobody else's loud noise.
I was about to say, you gonna cuss.
No, I'm not cussing today. Hell is as far as I'm going.
Go ahead, what you were saying.
I can't allow anybody else's noise to get into what I was called to do.
Yeah.
So once again, people are coming for a reason. They're coming to me for a reason. It's a million other mental health spaces and places. But if you're coming to me, it's my job and my duty
to do something about it.
To do that work in my space. I can't worry about.
The struggle is not only what organization is out there, who are a part of those organizations. What is because, you know, I'm a male, in case people didn't know that.
I didn't know, Eric.
Right. And to see me out in the community as a licensed professional clinical counselor, all this other stuff, is an anomaly to the public. How do we get more people out there?
How do we get more black males out there?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
That's
go ahead.
That's the issue.
What do you think?
I think that we're living in a society of fear. People,
fear from?
Hell, I don't know. I don't know.
Would you say that's the realest moment? Like, hell, I don't know. Yeah. Because,
I think that I don't even know how to put it, but like we have become so afraid of what people think of us and how people are going to judge us. And that's always been, I mean, it's been there. But because of social media and all of these other things, we're like black men, like, oh, I'll help, but you really don't want to help.
Yeah.
Like, you know, or what does that, like, women are leaders now, and it's taken over. And it's just like, I don't want to be that leader in the sense of the black male being replaced. Right? And
it's definitely out there. Where it's just like, we don't need. I think the other part is, let's be candid, it's just not they have not figured out how to make it economically appealing in a way that is economically appealing in other areas. Now, I don't agree with you. Right, I don't agree with it because I can show someone how they can make over $100,000 a year. With that said,
with the gift that you can operate in, right?
Right, but you have to believe that when you're working, when you are recruiting for your organization, and how many men you got? Okay. When you are recruiting for that, how do you explain that part? Don't do that. How do you explain that part? That
ask me that question again.
This is economically profitable for you, and this is how I'm going to show you how to do it. Because the more people we get, the better our community does.
And that's the honest truth. Patience, I guess. You got to have patience. And I know that only goes so far.
I was about to say, patience don't pay bills.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
I think that, tapping into people's, once again, their strengths. We need black men to understand that they are strong enough to do the work that needs to be done in our community, and not on a emotional level.
Get out of certain areas and get into certain areas.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, because you work with the most vulnerable, right? There's the idea when I used to be in the community and I would work with kids and I would come into the room, it would be a totally different view because I was a male and working in behavioral health. When you're working with, because you choose to work with children, you choose to work with family.
I love families.
What is the greatest needs?
Family is the greatest need, especially in 2024. To me, I don't think you can heal or help. Let me choose my words wisely. We all know we have kids who grow from the concrete, right?
Yeah.
They bloom regardless. Yeah. That's your 10%.
Roses from the cracks.
Right?
No, I got you. Yeah, that's the 10%.
That's the 10%.
That's 10%.
That's me and you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Who already was aware but not aware.
Right.
The other
90%. There you go. It's all good.
That's the struggle.
Yeah.
It's getting them to understand that you too can also be this rose that blooms from the concrete, but it takes a system. Family is the first system that has ever been put in place.
Right. That's the initial.
That's the initial.
And it's supposed to be that way. The other part is what I find in Northeast Ohio, suffering is profitable. It is. And there are so many solution-based organizations that when I get into the rooms and I be like, why are they here when they are part of the problem? Where is To Attain Healing? Where is the Southern Project? Or where are some of these other organizations that are quiet but they're moving? And the only thing that I can come back to is suffering is profitable for some of these large organizations.
Yeah, and I think that's my place because I don't care about profit, to be honest. I care about healing. And to me, if I don't believe in therapy for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, I don't even understand that.
Right? Why have you been seeing this therapist for 10 years straight?
Yes.
Every month. Consistently. Now, does life happen and you got to go back and be like,
maintenance. That's the difference called maintenance.
Absolutely.
That's maintenance.
So I'd rather help in your healing and dismiss and you come back when you need to than to have you stay for profit.
Yeah.
That doesn't,
because a lot of times
not doing any.
You see it. I mean, if anyone has actually worked in the industry in one of these larger, we have a lot of them in Northeast Ohio. Let's be real, right? We have a lot of profitable ones.
A lot.
We have a lot of profitable ones. I mean, there are some getting raided by the FBI because there is Medicaid fraud. And there's some that are owned by venture capitalists that are coming in. They have a counselor at the top, but that counselor has no ability to make decisions. So there's a lot of us out there, okay? And what I'm finding is as long as we have suffering, we will have profit in behavioral health.
Yeah, but why can't we move away from that narrative?
We need better.
I want to move away from that narrative.
So what do we do about it? Well, yeah, you can do it. What do we do?
You do the work.
Okay.
You do the work, right? Like, once again, they're not like us.
Right. I gotta find some Kendrick Lamar and throw that on there.
Like, you do the work and you be okay with doing the work.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with doing the work.
Right.
I'm okay with being out there with my staff. I'm okay with doing the work and not caring what that looks like to nobody around me.
Yeah. And let me say this. Within the last 4 years, mental health has become an exponentially profitable organization. And just like anything else, because we are in America, capitalistic system is there, right? And we need money to run things. There's a way to use that money to where it doesn't do more harm. Because this is what I'm saying. The individuals that are out there, they have the capital for the marketing. And because they have the capital for the marketing, they have the eyeballs to send people to them. This is what they don't have. They don't have a diverse amount of workers and a large amount to where those workers that are making, yes, they may be making $90, $95, or $100,000 a year, but they're having caseloads of 30, 40, 50, 60 people. Now, I'm sorry, 60 people, and you have to see them once a week. You're not doing your work.
You're not.
You're not doing your job.
We've been there.
I've been there. Right. We both.
I've been there.
Both been there.
And I walked away.
Right. We worked at the same location.
Because my purpose is to help the people.
Right. So when we're talking about this, and we're talking about your organization, we're talking about the community or any other mental health person, we're talking from boots on the ground. We've been there. And when the listeners are making these phone calls, what I want you to understand, I'm going to give them one, and I want you to give them one too. Understand that your counselor is there to guide you, not to provide you advice. What's yours?
Can I steal that one?
Oh, you can steal whatever.
Okay.
You cool.
I'm going to steal that one.
You go steal that one.
But I also want to say that your counselor needs to be doing the work themselves.
Because that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
If you can I keep going?
You can. Oh. We got about 30 seconds, but go ahead.
If you're going to a therapist or a counselor that's not doing the work, you're also not going to be guided, to me, the right way.
In the most healthy way.
Absolutely.
We're going to take a
healthy way,
right,
not
healthy
right way.
Well, no.
Say, no, it's a difference.
It's a difference.
Yeah, we're going to use healthy today.
We're going to use today. We're going to go out on a quick break. This is Unapologetic.
Bopping my head.
Bopping your head.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Okay.
This is Unapologetic with Eric King on WOVU 95.9 FM. So we are on Facebook Live. We were just playing. If anyone was watching us on Facebook Live, we was just playing.
Yay.
That's all we do.
Go on Facebook Live and watch the rest of the show.
They can't hear us, though, when we on break, which is okay with me.
Oh, yeah, because
okay.
Conversations get real on break.
Okay, give them your information before we jump into the next fun.
Oh, okay.
So IG
is Miss Ta2. That's my personal / business page because I am transparent.
Right.
But I also have To Attain Healing IG.
Okay.
And Facebook is Tara Hill. And my website is TazOhio.com.
And the business?
That's the business, TazOhio.com.
And the phone number for the business?
216-714-5070. To Attain Healing Services. We're located in Maple Heights, Ohio.
You can always tell someone who's not actually used to pubbing themselves because they be like, "What?"
That's why that great introduction you gave me. You gotta give me that recording.
I get it. I'll give it to you. To you. All right. So let's switch a little bit because we gotta help the people that listen. All the 2-3 people that listen, we gotta help them.
I hope it's more than 2 or 3 people.
It's probably just 2 or 3. It's probably just 2 or 3. All right. So this thing we call healing, this thing we call mental health. If someone's listening and struggling with toxic, I call it's toxic stress because there's some good stress and then there's some toxic stress. It's healthy to be stressed. If you're not stressed, then you're dead.
You don't grow.
You don't grow. So someone listening, what are the first things you want them to know about toxic stress and or trauma?
You can't get away from it.
It's bad credit. It's student loans.
It's there.
Loans. Yeah.
And I want you to understand that trauma is present.
Mm-hmm.
You can't when people say I don't have trauma, I don't.
Who says that?
People say that.
Do they say that for real?
People be like, there's nothing wrong with me.
There's not. It's you. It's not me.
Oh.
Oh my. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I want you
But
to
go
understand
back.
that there's something wrong with all of us.
Yes.
Even us mental health professionals.
I have a therapist. So
I have
it's
a therapist too.
So it's okay. When you're conveying that concept of or separating, because we have sayings, right? You too blessed to be stressed. I hate those. Don't do that. Wait. Just wait. Just wait. Okay. Too blessed to be stressed. Like we have all these things that we say in our community that is more of a mask. And
It's a culture thing.
it's a culture thing. You look so sad.
It's culture trauma.
Right. That's true. That we say when you're connecting with someone and you're trying to get them to understand that just because you're comfortable, it's still dysfunctional. How do we do that?
It's cultural trauma.
Okay.
And it's real. The too stressed to be blessed. I believe in a higher power.
Right.
I believe that, that's guided to help us. But if you don't do the work,
You're still the same.
you're still impacted by the trauma.
Yeah. Prayer without work is dead.
Faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
And
All-
that's in
all
every
that.
aspect of your life.
Every bit. When you're breaking down or peeling back, the layers of toxicity or layers of more or less okay, trauma. Because we keep saying it.
But what's
okay.
the other word that you could use?
What books do you right. What books do you use? So Body Keeps the Score is one that I use a lot. When Things Fall Apart is good. I don't know a lot of authors, but I know titles. So When Things Fall Apart is a good one. What are some things that you go
I'm
to?
going to tell you my first self-help book was Battlefield of the Minds.
What's that one about? What's that one?
Battling with
Okay.
the mental. It was mental for me. It was environment. It was understanding what was put in me in my environment
Right.
mentally and how
Right.
I compartmentalize
Mentalize,
those things, those thoughts, those beliefs, those behaviors.
Okay.
So breaking out of
that chains.
chains, the box,
Okay.
and understanding what projection looks like. I'm gonna say that from the environmental piece, right?
So projection is, putting something else within you on something else,
Right.
and judging the something else, but not judging you as it relates to it.
Our parents.
Yes, because they're right. Because we blame them for a lot, when after a certain point, it's literally you.
It's really you. Right. As you grow up.
Yeah.
As you get older, because as a kid, you like,
as a kid, right.
Right.
The other book that I like is let's see, Adult Kids to Immature Parents. I think that's what it is. So it's a book that talks literally about that. That they're talked about how your parents that were raising you were just immature. And because you're an adult now, you get a chance to look back. Now, chapter 8 is one of the best chapters that I've ever read.
Okay.
And that chapter has to do with going to your parent and talking to them and realizing that you're not going to get anything back. And so far too often people want to get things back. What's your thought on that? When you're working with someone and they're doing the work, but that one thing that they have to do is look their parents in the eye and tell them their reality and realize their parent is either not going to acknowledge that or not give you what you want.
Well, you have to do it. I had to do that with my mother. I had a strained relationship with my mom. And I had to understand that her healing is not my healing, right? She's still dealing with her suffering, and she's still dealing with her. But our parents are only supposed to take us as far as they can take us.
Right.
It's our job to do the rest.
Something beeping. I don't know what that was. But go ahead.
It wasn't me. My phones are on silent.
Go ahead. What you saying?
And our parents are our guide.
Right.
And they can only guide us, just like a therapist, as far as they can take us.
Right.
I ultimately feel like the job is ours, even if
it has always been yours.
It has always been.
Because so you're a parent, I'm a parent. The funniest thing that I've
and my kids are not my babies.
Right.
Okay.
They're right.
All right.
We had like a little discussion about what was
My
it?
sons.
Emotional infidelity with your kids.
Sorry. I had to interrupt you in that moment.
Oh yeah, I got you. So one of the things that I had that I've impressed, and maybe my middle child is getting it, is that it has always been your life. Because he came to us and was like, well, I want independence, I want freedom, I want this. And was like, okay, it has always been your life. And when he got that, us as parents came together, it's like, okay, when you had your freedom and your independence, this is the results.
What did you do with it?
So you're literally immature. Now you have this freedom, you have this independence. Now take it while understanding it is always going to be your life. Pretty soon you're going to be your own worst enemy, not your parents.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the choices that you make in that process.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not your parents.
Right.
No. You're right.
Because far too often in our business, I think we're back in the day. In our practice, in our business, we would have individuals to look primarily at the parent, and the parent is the issue. And now we have changed the way that we've theorized, human behavior, to now we're looking at it in a totally different way. When you are going through and you're attempting to get the people that work under you educated, what are your go-to websites or books to, get them prepared to do this thing we call work?
I have a lot. I can't even begin to, like, emotionally, spiritually healthy. Like, that's a book.
Right.
Like, I want to say psycho spiritual. Like, I'm more so psycho spiritual.
Yeah.
And I just present it to them like, you have to do the work. You have to do the work. You have to do the work.
Yeah.
Because you can't continue to deal with clients if you're not dealing with your own mess.
Yeah.
It's going to become a friction.
This is a hard business.
It is a hard business.
This is a really hard business. And you got to show up.
You do.
You got to show up, and you can't just show up for money. You also cannot show up for your selfish healing. When you're impressing that part, and I know we said it, but because I need people to understand that when you go and you go to psychologytoday.org, you go and find you a therapist, and you find that therapist, and you sit down for that first moment, and the therapist is spending more time talking about them than talking about you. Leave
immediately.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to heal themselves through your pain.
Exactly.
And your triggers and your trauma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you I'm not going. I'm a switch.
There?
No, I'm not. I'm a switch. So switching gears.
Okay.
Switching gears. When you are doing this thing, and you are 5 to 10 years older than where you are right now, what are the 3 things you want to offer or say that is my legacy in doing this thing, in this thing that I created?
Love and light, for sure.
Okay.
That's my legacy. Like, I don't want to operate in any space besides that. And that means life is going to happen. Things are going to happen. But I stay in my authentic, true self of that. Making the connections that need to be made for what happens after me. Okay.
Meaning as in legacy, passing. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, legacy. To Attain Healing is its own legacy. Right? Tara Hill is her own legacy. They're 2 separate things.
You didn't start. You didn't create yourself. Right. No, I got you.
So just, being and just going with the flow, honestly. Like, I don't have no expectations of where I'm supposed to be. I just walk in what I'm supposed to do.
Go back to the connection part, because a lot of people, they're amputating live limbs. So what I mean by that is, their amputation is for dead limbs or for no longer working limbs. And far too often in our society, we're amputating live limbs or limbs that are connected that are just bothersome to you. And so in disconnecting us from, or if I go back to your point of connection, what is your thoughts, or what would you say to somebody that is literally sitting across from you and they want to sever a relationship or let go of a limb because they don't see that they're the issue?
Because they don't see that they're the issue?
Yeah.
And they want to sever the relationship, or do you sever the relationship? Because I'm on the other end, like, goodbye.
This is your client.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, this is your...
I thought you was talking about personal life. Dang it.
Oh, we can't do that. This is...
Is it our job to they have to get to a place where they understand that they are the problem. But we can't, that's not a...
But it's crazy. But the culture is saying, if they stress you out, if you're not feeling unhappy, if you're uncomfortable, let them go. When in reality, you're letting go something that is beneficial because you can't see the benefit in it.
Yeah, but because you don't know, you're not operating in
your truth.
In your trueness.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I'm with you. I'm on your side. Remember, I'm always on your side.
I'm here to I can endure suffering for somebody else's healing.
Yeah.
Right? Until I can't no more.
I can't no more. Because this idea, especially in relationships right now, is you got to come with A, B, and C. I'm going to be real. I was broke. I mean, we still broke, but you get my point.
Yeah.
But we built together, right?
Yes. But
that's not what the culture is saying. If we're looking at that second point that you said, connection, we have far too many individuals severing connections.
Yeah, but that's because people don't want to be vulnerable and do the work.
Do the work.
It's easy to cut off.
Let them go.
It's easy.
My fault.
No, for real.
No, I know. You know, I know.
That's easy.
Because it's less headache. All right, we got to roll.
Dang.
Yeah. Give me your information right quick before they kick us off the air.
Okay, my IG is Miss Tatu. That's personal. Business is To Attain Healing. Mm-hmm. My business is To Attain Healing Services. We are located at 5310 Warrensville Center Road, Maple Heights, Ohio, 44137. The phone number is 216-714-5070.
All right. So we about out of here.
Dang, that was good.
We had some fun. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by. Next week.
My mouth is dry.
Oh, you wow. Next week we're gonna talk a little bit about elder care. You should have been back for that one. You can come back next week. Okay. We got another guest though about elder care and how how that works and how we got there. But at any case, we're out. Peace.